Okay students, welcome back to English class. Today in this class I am going to help you to understand the third lesson of your textbook, The Gift of Magi, written by a famous short story writer in English, O. Henry. O. Henry is the pen name of William Sidney Potter. William Sidney Potter. It's his real name. Before going to the lesson, let me ask a question. Have you received valuable gifts in your life? And which one did you like most? And what is the reason? Sometimes some prizes or gifts are priceless, but we are keeping that gifts as valuable gifts in our life. Why? What is the reason? Because the person who is giving these gifts, whether he or she, they have more importance in our life. This lesson, Gift of Magi, also has a connection with Christmas gifts. And the Magi, who were the Magi? Do you know who are Magi? Magi were three characters from the Holy Book Bible. They were the three kings, wise kings, traveled from east to meet newborn baby Jesus in Bethlehem. They traveled. Through their traveling, they have faced a lot of struggles, and they overcame everything, and they brought their valuable gifts to give and to meet this newborn baby Jesus. This lesson is not telling, or it is not describing about the traveling of these three Magi or these three wise men. It is the story of Jim and Della. Jim and Della. And this is the Christmas time. Della wanted to give a nice gift to her husband, but she had only $1.87 in her hand. How did she save this amount? When she was purchasing vegetables and when she was going to grocers, butchers, she was bargaining with them, and she has saved this $1.87, $1.87. But that amount was not sufficient to buy a beautiful gift for her Jim. So she was crying. Nothing she could do there. She was crying, and like this, O. Henry introduces this heroine of the story, Della. And next steps, he is describing the financial condition of this family, of this couple. They were living in a furnished flat, and they were paying $8 per week for this flat. And in front of their gate, there was a letter box. No one was sending letters. And there was one electric button. No one was pressing that one. When the writer describes the financial condition of this couple, he was telling about the two precious possessions of Jim and Della. Which are that two precious possessions of their house? The first one is Jim's gold watch. Jim's gold watch, which was belonged to his father and grandfather. And the next precious possession was Della's brown long hair. Brown long hair. They were keeping these two things as the precious possessions of their house. And again we can go back to this Della's crying. She was crying and she stopped it, and she was standing in front of one pier glass. So in their flat, one pier glass was there. She was standing and she rubbed everything. She has used some powder racks, and when she was standing, suddenly one idea flashed in her mind. So she was planning to buy a new gift for his in this class. Till this we can learn, and next class we will continue. Now it is a reading session. Lesson 3, The Gift of Magi, written by O. Henry. $1.87, that was all, and 60 cents of it was in pennies. Pennies saved 1 and 2 at a time by bulldozing the grocer and the vegetable man and the butcher until one's cheeks burned with silent imputation of parsimony that such close dealing implied. 3 times Della counted it, $1.87, and the next day would be Christmas. There was clearly nothing to do but flop down on the shabby little couch and howl. So Della did it, which instigates the moral reflection that life is made up of sobs, sniffles, and smiles, with sniffles predominating. While the mistress of the home is gradually subsiding from the first stage to the second, take a look at the home. A furnished flat at $8 per week. It did not exactly beg a description, but it certainly had that word on the lookout for the mendicancy squad. Here the word mendicancy squad means beggar description. So in this third paragraph, writer is explaining the financial condition of Jim and Della. In the vestibule means entrance. Below was a letter box into which no letter would go and an electric button from which no mortal finger could coax a ring. Also appertaining thereunto was a card bearing the name Mr. James Dillingham Young. The Dillingham had been flung to the breeze during a former period of prosperity when its possessor was being paid $30 per week. Now when the income was shrunk to $20, though they were thinking seriously of contracting to a modest and unassuming D. But whenever Mr. James Dillingham Young came home and reached his flat above, he was called Jim and greatly hugged by Mrs. James Dillingham Young, already introduced to you as Della, which is all very good. Dear students, in this fifth paragraph, writer tells about the prosperity period of Jim and Della. That time they were paying $30 per week for this flat. But now they are thinking to a modest and unassuming the D. That means now they can pay only $8 per week for this flat because their income was shrunk to $20. Sixth paragraph. Della finished her cry and attended to her cheeks with the powder rag. She stood by the window and looked out dully at a grey cat walking a grey fence in a grey backyard. Tomorrow would be Christmas Day, and she had only $1.87 with which to buy Jim a present. She had been saving every penny she could for months with this result. $20 a week doesn't go far. Expenses had been greater than she had calculated. They always are. Only $1.87 to buy a present for Jim. Her Jim. Many a happy hour she had spent planning for something nice for him, something fine and rare and sterling, something just a little bit near to being worthy of the honor of being owned by Jim. In the sixth paragraph, Della is planning to buy a beautiful gift for Jim, but only $1.87 in her hand. And she was planning something fine gift, a rare gift, a sterling, something just a little bit near to being worthy of the honor of being owned by Jim. So she was planning with this because this is the Christmas time. Tomorrow, this is Christmas Day. Seventh paragraph. There was a pier glass between the windows of the room. Perhaps you have seen a pier glass in a $8 flat. A very thin and very agile person may, by observing this reflection in a rapid sequence of longitudinal stripes, obtain a fairly accurate conception of his looks. Della, being slender, had mastered the art. So again the writer explains or describes the financial condition of this Della and Jim, and there was a pier glass in their home, but it was not a good one, it was not a big one. So one agile and one lean person can observe or can see their image in that pier glass. But Della, she was very lean and she was mastered the art. Which art? To see her object, her reflection in that pier glass. Okay. And eighth one. Suddenly she whirled from the window and stood before the glass. Her eyes were shining brilliantly, but her face had lost its color within 20 seconds. Rapidly she pulled down her hair and let it fall to its full length. Ninth paragraph. It's very important, students. In this paragraph, writer tells about the two precious possessions of Jim and Della. There were two possessions of James Dillingham Young's in which they both took a mighty pride. One was Jim's gold watch that had been his father's and his grandfather's. The other was Della's hair. Had the Queen of Sheba lived in the flat across the air shaft, Della would have let her hair hang out of the window some day to dry, just to depreciate Her Majesty's jewels and gifts. Here the writer made a comparison between Della's hair and Queen of Sheba's jewels. Queen of Sheba, she was very fond of these jewels and gifts, and she had a collection of jewels and gifts with her. But writer tells here, when Della put down her hair out of the window to dry, it will depreciate the value. It will reduce the value of Queen Sheba's jewels. So which one has more value? Here, Della's hair. And next, writer tells about Jim's precious possession. It was his gold watch, which was belonged to his father and grandfather. And last line, last sentence, had King Solomon been the janitor means caretaker, guard, with all his treasures piled up in the basement, Jim would have pulled out his watch every time he passed, just to see him pluck at his beard from envy. What's the meaning of this? Here Jim's gold watch is compared to King Solomon's treasures. King Solomon had a lot of treasures and he himself was a janitor, caretaker, guard of that treasures. The same way Jim also, whenever he was passing by this gold watch, he will pull out it and he will see it. So if he was doing like that, it will make jealous or envy in this King Solomon, because here Jim's watch he was keeping, he was giving more value for this watch. Okay, so that comparisons you have to learn well. Now we are moving to the last 10th paragraph. So now Della's beautiful hair fell about her, rippling and shining like a cascade of brown waters. Okay, so here Della's hair is comparing to the cascade. Cascade means waterfall. Okay, cascade of brown waters, because her hair's color is brown. It reached below her knee and made itself almost a garment for her. So when she was put on her hair, it was like a garment for her. Okay, so thick, so lengthy. And then she did it up again nervously and quickly. Once she faltered for a minute and stood still while a tear or two splashed on the worn red carpet. So here we can see again Della is crying how she can buy a nice gift for Jim. Okay, so in next class we will continue this one. Now we are moving to the meanings of this or the hard words of this part. Okay, from one paragraph to 10th paragraph. Read it well. Okay, students? Yes. Okay, students, let me introduce the new words in this lesson. Bulldozing. Bulldozing means bargaining. Okay, bargaining. Bargaining. Imputation. Imputation means suggestions. Flop down. Flop down means fall down. Mendicancy squad. Mendicancy squad means beggar's description. That means it was not more than this beggar's house, who is this Jim's and Della's flat. Vestibule. Vestibule means entrance. On the vestibule there was a letterbox. That means in the entrance there was a letterbox in front of this Della's and Jim's flat. Agile. Agile. This word is very important. Agile means active. Okay, active. Agile means active. Sterling. Sterling means excellent. Excellent. Whirl. Whirl means turn. Okay, so in this class you learn all these new words. Sometimes these words will come for this analogy. Okay, so you have to learn the meanings of these words also. And today we are going to wind up this class. In next class we will continue the same lesson. And okay, you have to read this and learn well. Okay, thank you. Next class we will see. Bye.